Do we? Yes, we do. Sound is good. Hey, Harry's back. Hey, Harry. Thanks for tuning in. This is the pregame show. Meaning, getting my tools prepared for the session tonight. Allows people to join the channel before I'm done the introduction. Kind of lets me meditate a little bit too to get my focus on this pencil being perfectly sharpened. Might just be me and you tonight, pencil. That's okay, that's the point of practice. Beautiful. Just how I like them. One. These aren't too bad from last time. Just take back the shoulder, and then we'll re-hone the tip with our sandpaper in a bag. It's the first sharpen that takes the longest. You gotta be a little more careful as well. Maybe the last sharpen, because the pencil ends up being just a centimeter long. I used to keep all my really short pencils. I was gonna make like a shaman necklace, an art shaman necklace, but you collect hundreds of these things. Seems silly. Maybe next Halloween I'll wear it. So 3 Pierre Noir Conte 1710Bs, and then a couple of Wolf's Carbon is what I'm using today. Pretty much my standard. I like to have a bunch sharpened because I don't like to get out of the zone, without intention of course, when I'm drawing, and then have to sharpen a pencil. You may drop one, you may break one, and for sure while you're drawing they're going to get dull. I would always suggest to have 5, but I have 5 total. I'm going to use 3 Pierre Noir 1710s and 2 Wolf's Carbon. So now I'll just hone them with the, actually this one can use a little more. Hone them with the sandpaper. Maybe you got a sanding block. You can do it with this blade. Do it like this. But I prefer sandpaper. It makes your hands dirty though, so then you gotta go wash them. But there's a little mess in art, especially the preparatory bits. I love in classes when everyone's just standing around the garbage can doing this, doing their little meditation. It's kind of like being around a campfire. Oh, I miss camping. One of my good friends went camping last night in his hot tent. I just wish I wasn't so busy. I'd be camping too. Unfortunately, the time that I booked off had passed and it was too cold. Get our sanding out. This is 180. Pretty aggressive. Enjoy the meditative sounds. I normally use 220 or whatever's around. I bought every type of sandpaper in this portfolio years ago. For the first time I had gone to the store Princess Auto, and the prices were so cheap. It was so exciting. Filled up a cart, and I've been using this sandpaper now for like a decade, and I still got tons. So it's whatever sheet I pull out. It's not exactly method to this part of the madness. Taking the shoulder off. It's not anything to do with the tip. Sanding down here. And eventually, the tip gets honed. I like to make one that looks like a needle. Very, very long and pointy. A long taper right from there. And then I make two others. One a little more gentle slope. So one that's really pointy for details, and I usually use it later in the session. That's just me. This one's nearly perfect. And of course, your TP to wipe off all the excess dust. That much would wind up on your drawing that you weren't in control of. Hopefully you can see that point on there. She's sharp. Beautifully sharpened. I got about 6 minutes till I do the little show countdown. That's when I run out and I wash my hands usually. And have a pee. Because even though this is a live stream, I get nervous every time I do one of these. I'm in a room by myself, talking to myself, but I still get that same nervous feeling as if I'm going on stage. I don't know if that ever goes away. I'm glad I'm not an actor, because I don't think I could handle that all the time. Cold, clammy hands, nervous sweat. Every time you did your job. Like when I normally draw, I don't feel that way at all. And when I'm out in public, I don't feel that way at all. It's only when, and not when I teach either. Maybe the first class, right? Because you don't know the people in the class. But after that, it's a skill, right? Like anything else. Perfect. One more. Try to stand up straight here. Back's killing me from today. The sandpaper is pretty filled up with this material. But it's still working. Let's switch to this side now. That's when your hands get dirty, is when you're flipping this thing around. I'm holding onto the bag to keep my hand from like having a glove on. But I'll still have to wash before this session starts. We'll just hone up the Wolf's carbons. They just need a little point. They weren't used much in the last session. This one's actually pretty good. These are more my detail. It's less soft, the material as well. It's also a little bit lighter in color. Value. not so rich. But you can use it to push in some of the Conte as well. That's pretty good. Wipe it off again. Sorry, trees. I need you. Keep growing. Our arsenal is assembled. Yeah, plus erasers. Maybe I'll find some kneadable gum as well. I don't have any out today. The yellow one. So you can see, just from sharpening, got dirty hands. $5:55. Time, my friends, for a 5-minute countdown. let's clean that lens, hey? Last minute everything. Welcome to Atelier Artista. If you don't know me and this is the first time that you're watching one of these live streams, my name is Brian Batista, but my friends call me Bunny. It's a long story, and even in a 3-hour live stream, I'm not going to tell it. Last week we broke in the new year, drawing this piece here, and there were things about it that for the whole week just bugged the heck out of me. So today we're going to draw a male, and our trophy is this old sign. It's still holding up. I can't believe it since we started these live streams. So I went on Instagram and found a picture which will arrive over here on your screen shortly when we get down to drawing. What did I want to say? This is by the, look at the alphabet there. That's hilarious. Okay, by the seat of my pants. Hey Greg, Mr. Harry, all you guys, thanks for joining me. I have already in the pre-show, so if you show up early or you get that warning because you've tapped the bell for your subscription, I have sharpened and gotten ready all my tools. I have three Pierre Noir Contes sharpened to nice long needle-like point and or like a rocket, and 3 Wolf's Carbon for the detail, a stump, an eraser, some other things on the side here, blades, and a new kneadable eraser because I can't find my old one. What I love about these kneadable eraser containers is that the blades fit inside them, so you don't have a blade floating around your kit. You can just sink it and lock it in there. Hey, whatever. Just a little tip. So, let's get the camera to where we need to be, which is straight down over my head. Oh, and since we're on the screen, that's you guys there. That's the YouTube window. That is what we're going to be drawing. The name of this is Alice Panref, and it is also in the description of this video. So, I mean, you can see I'm working off a screen. I'm about 5 feet away from it. To give that same training with our eyes, that looking over the drawing horse, which I'll be tilting down to in just a second, to a model would be for us. So let me just, this is last week's work. Just get arranged. It's nice to start with a win, so remind yourself of what you've drawn, go through your previous work, and let me just put the image up that we're working from. Here he is. And so you can see that that was definitely taken from my Instagram. I took it today at 5:16, and this is what we're going to be working with. Like, there's a lot of noise in this picture. Hey, Samantha. A lot of noise in this picture with the trees and whatnot in the background, but we'll start by focusing on our figure. Okay, I need a sheet of paper. This week I didn't turn the image black and white. I was in a rush. I didn't put the crosshairs. You're gonna have to imagine. If you're working on a smart TV, like I know some of you do, the image is gonna be as big for you as I'm looking at, which is great. Just putting that picture away for safekeeping. That paper that I used last week, I kind of didn't like. It was this paper. I'm going to go back to just kind of a warm feeling newsprint. Softer, a little bit more fibrous. You should definitely get to know your paper. This paper I love using because it was free. I'm a thrifty Portuguese man. Actually, this was given to me, a stack of 500. Oh, this one's gross. From Keith Springall, who more than likely will be tuning in. And the challenge has just been to go through it. If you're buying newsprint, and I highly encourage you to use newsprint all the time. It's the cheapest paper. I mean, this is practice, right? It yellows over time. It's not archival, but it's such a great material to learn on. Is that the camera shadow? Okay. I like to feel the paper first. Mark out a place that limits my topmost drawing area, so give myself an inch or so, and my bottommost drawing area. That tells my body something. Now, this figure is only going to sit in the middle. That full rectangle that you see on the screen is approximate 18 by 24 ratio possibly. And so, oh, you can see Atelier Artista liked it. You guys should follow this model if you haven't already. He's got some really interesting poses on there. I picked this one because it was very dynamic. Last week we did have a sitting pose, but she was rather contained. We're also going to have a timer this week because last week I just drew. I've been on 7 days of the Master Cleanse. If you've watched my live stream before, you know that it happens at this time of year. So for 7 days I haven't had solid food. Just this lemon and maple syrup and cayenne water. And I worked a full day. Getting the studio all nice and beautiful. I had a helper and we scrubbed the heck out of the floor. Just only half. And my back's hurting, so I'm hoping I can make it 2 hours here. We'll see. Once I get into it, sometimes it's good. The front part, not so much. So I'm just going to put the picture up on the screen for me to look at a little bit better in the center. And I'll try to keep the chat open in case anyone has other things they want to bring up or ask. Now, I just want to make mention of how I'm looking at this piece. Just imagine on your screen here, up here, that there's a crosshair. And it drops from his eye, through the side of his mouth, down to his sternum, to the outside of the knee, and then all the way down to his ankle. I try to look for 3 contact points on a vertical line. On a horizontal line, I don't need it so much. I'm going to think of my horizon, horizontal, across that left leg. His left leg. It's right on the screen. And so I'll put the crosshair in. This allows you to also be like, can I draw today? I have not drawn today. This camera's causing the shadow, I think. Maybe at a break I'll move my setup back because I see a dark spot here, but we'll just have to live with it for now. I'm gonna take a measure using a head length. I'll go from the top of his brow to his clearly defined beard and jawline because I can. Wow. 1, 2. So I almost get 5 head lengths. Now I'll check the side by measuring that same head length. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I'm going to say he's about 4 heads tall and 3 and a bit wide. So he's going to fit in almost a square. So I'm not going to need the top bit here or the bottom bit. There'll be a little bit of a margin. So I'm just going to go for drawing the head. Just using the trained eye. 1, 2, 3. Might drop it down a little bit. We'll see. Just gonna block this in and then possibly use an envelope to get the main forms in. I like to change it up the way I work just to keep it interesting. Plus you learn new things every time you do that. So that'll be his jaw, I think. Maybe a little lower. Brow line. Okay, that'll be my head shape, I think. Just look for where the collarbones are. Slightly downward tilt. So look for the heights of the shoulder. Be about there. The neck pit. So run the collarbone up. The outside of the deltoid. So every time you see my arm go straight, I'm measuring in front of me. And you should be doing the same. Oh, my roommate, Ray Kruger. Hello, Ray. Thanks for coming by. Took a measure from the head to the neck pit, and that equals the length of the neck pit to the knee. So I'm just giving myself to remind me where I'm located, what quadrant essentially. I could block in some of the chest shape. He's turning this way, so on the lower part. So it's very good sometimes to draw curving lines to remind yourself what is the major turn of this form. Like if you imagine he's a bean, you don't want to lose that volume. Even though this arm is being brought up, so I would draw the volume this way, which you can see his pectoral muscle and the muscle going across to his clavicle right here. We want to keep that roundness. So I'm going to build something very structural at first, I guess today. That's what's happening. Here's an interesting thing. The thumb lines up in a horizontal plane with the chin. See how far it is from the head. 3 units. 1, 2, 3. So there's his thumb. This was something I want to say, like, I've taught for a lot of years, and I get a lot of students, also because of where I live, that are engineers. And I think sometimes you gotta think a little bit not like an artist, or how you think an artist thinks, and think about this like a visual puzzle. How are we going to represent this figure? Oh yeah, that looks better. How are we going to judge shapes and sizes that are next to one another? And it makes it easier. If you let your brain tell you, well, if it starts saying, I know what a deltoid, I know what a shoulder is, that's where a lot of the errors come in. Especially when judging angles. Might have made his neck a little too thick there. Some more landmark areas. Landmarks are the areas where bone doesn't have muscle or fat on it, and so it gives you an opportunity to see a surfacing bone clavicle would be one. Chin, mandible, jaw, right? In our mind, we kind of would say that that's where a line is. I'm kind of also a little bit thinking like plate armor. And that's just this time. You got to use whatever tools work for the job you're doing. I feel like to be a good figure drawer, you need to see a variety of ways. That's why it's also not that important to learn the names of all the muscles and things. Because the first thing about drawing is shape. Is the shape correct? Is it in the right place? Is it the right proportion? Does it have perspective? Oh, those are all the P's. These wonderful sounds you hear from the studio. Once again, I've looked up royalty free. I think I typed in soul. This doesn't sound like that, but also I made a concerted effort this week to draw a male model, because often the references and what's out there tend to be more female. I don't have a lot of references for male models. Before our model Ryan went back to the States, I was able to do a photo shoot with him, but on this live stream we've already used all those references. So I have no references that I can use on the live stream. There are other issues with the live stream. The last episode almost got taken down, and then it just got a plus 18 put on it, even though there was no ipple or anything. It's tough when you're a figure drawer to use some of these platforms to share the work, even though it's clearly art. Community standards, right? All right, so we got some shape of the hand there. It's very graphical. Yeah, I think this is gonna turn out good. I have a good feeling about this. Try to ignore the trees. Although I'd love to draw some in. The background turned out nice last week. I thought that was, it added to the piece. Often we just isolate the figure and they're kind of floating. He's definitely on something here. So sometimes that looks a little bit weird. So you can actually draw, you can really see his patella. I like to draw it sort of like a baseball diamond. You know, just a pentagon shape. From the shoulder straight down is the waist. From the outside of the deltoid, we get some hips. The horizontal here is where the trochanter is, so the biggest, widest part of the outside of his hip, and it goes across just under the tibia tuberosity. You can see that line coming down there. And then I'm going across his leg, his second leg there. So that's where I made my horizontal go. yours can go elsewhere. It's the beauty of this art thing. We all do it a little different and arrive at different things. We see different. I know that I'm constantly training my eye, but I mean, sometimes I just daze off into a daydream. Something about training the artistic eye and temperament. It's got its downsides. Like, sometimes just walking down the street being profound beauty just captures you. Or when you're driving, it can be dangerous. I'm gonna find out where this knee is. I see if the finger is in the right place. If it is, I don't know. That's where the front of the knee is, but I'm also gonna take a head measurement just to be sure I'm on the right track here. 2 head lengths and a little bit. Well, that works out perfect. Let's just carve down that leg. The middle of the leg is often the tallest point. So I'm doing some of the shape. I'm just gonna guess. I really like this. It looks like some of the stuff I've studied with, Michelangelo, that twisting of the body. Quite a beautiful pose he's given us here. Straight down from the patella, I can see the fold of the calf, the gastrocnemius. So I've guessed. It could be right there, I don't know. But I want to guess the rest of the leg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a measure from maybe the center to his head with my pencil and just see if that's the foot. And it is. So this length is equidistant to this length. And so I'm just going to put a little line down there. And then that way I don't draw the legs wrong like I did last week. Often on the bottom, because you have to bring, it gets further away from your body and your eyes. Like up here tends to be the perfect distance. But as you work down here, unless you draw it up like this, and then you're blocking the model in front of you, I find I distort. That's just me. So his heel pretty much is in alignment with the side of the knee, the mouth and the eye, pretty much. So I'll just use angles and draw a little foot box. The toe is in alignment with this. So I'm just using that crosshair idea. I learned this from the Barg drawings. If you haven't done your Barg, see, it's good that Keith's not on here yet. Just even curious if anyone can hear me. Let me check my audio. Yep, sound's going through. I hope you guys are out there. I can't wait till we're getting the studio ready for reopening. And 2 people, 5 hours. We got a third of the studio floor just scrubbed right down. It's looking nice. I like a good, clean studio. I think cleanliness is more akin to creativity, especially if you're organized and know where your things are. It makes it a lot easier. And as you create, you definitely get messy. Definitely. And then you finish off and you hopefully put it back to the way it was when it was nice. drawing through. The soleus, gastrocnemius, soleus. Show each lump, each bend. That's your dimensionality right there. Okay. So we can find this back leg. It's looking a little thick. Well, it's about a head length from that line. Okay, so we're going to here. So it looks to me like I made the buttock a little too low. It's all in shadow there, so it's hard to see at least. Let me just make the picture bigger. Yeah, it's just dark there for me. It doesn't make any difference changing how I see it. The heel of the back foot. I mean, there's some rock here. That's gonna make life easy. Here his feet are much bigger than the head because we're much lower on the figure looking up. Last week I drew it that way, but it wasn't that exaggerated. Her feet were nearly twice the size of her head in my drawing, but they were actually pretty close to just being the right size in actuality. Soleus, gastrocnemius. Tibia tuberosity. There you go. That toe almost lines up to the front of the knee. So, and it's lower than this foot. So I'm just gonna find a place for me to get to. This all is gonna get refined more than likely. Anyhow. This toe is even lower. I actually prefer drawing men. I think it's because all the angles. Things are less subtle, so you can get away with a lot more. Alright, so we got gotta get this other arm in here. You know what? I forgot to hit the timer, but luckily I can just watch the clock. Why did I bring that thing? Put the hair in. The hair must be holding those horns in. Those will be fun. We can even make them a little bit bigger. So I'm just finding where the nose is. It's about halfway. Because I gotta find where those horns turn. The thing about curvy shapes like this is you can kind of cheat them. You can be designy. I'll drop them down a little more. Goats have square eyes. Square pupils, at least. Okay. Having the plan. Artista. This back arm. Three to the thumb. One. Ooh, that was lucky. We're getting close. Don't like to get. I like to leave about 2.5 centimeters, an inch for my imperial friends, if possible. All right, so because I landed the hand, I kind of lined it up. I can now join together the arm. It's one way of doing it, right? Bicep. All right, we've got them blocked in. We're going to draw a little bit of background elements, and then we're going to take our little break. I think I'll blur the background out a little bit more though. So I'm not going to put it in yet because of where my hand will be resting. But that's essentially our lay-in. Take 20 to 25 minutes for that. And I'm gonna take a little drink and water break, stare at it for a little bit, and then we will move on to the drawing of the shadow shapes. So let's just enjoy some triangles. All right, we're back. Hey, you may have noticed this isn't the picture that I posted. This is actually the screen we're looking at. I've put my piece beside the screen, and although they're different sizes, I'm looking at it, looking forward from the drawing table to analyze what I've done. And as is a problem I often have, is making the limbs too skinny or too fat. So I think I've lost a little bit of the turn of his body in the side rib here. Here, let me see. My hand's not even in this picture. And so I'm going to trim that a little bit in this one. Get that twist of the body a little more and work a little bit more on his face. Other than that, I'm going to say, you know what? Like his arm could be a little longer on the left side of the drawing, but I think the lower body is what needs a little bit of help. It's more basic in terms of what I've chunked out here. I've already started drawing some of the muscles. So looking straight ahead, that's my reference on the screen. And shortly when I tilt back, I'll pop it up and then it will look like, wait, this is it on your screen. Boop. So you can still see it behind there. I'll just zoom out a little bit. What? Whoop, whoop. You see that? Okay. Wait. That's where I want to be. Okay, and then bring this drawing back down to my drawing donkey. Now, I'm going to try to time it because I should be training for what I'll actually be doing rather than just sitting and drawing. All right, there is your lovely comments and the open broadcasting system stuff, all there. But that's the image behind what you're seeing. I have the same thing. So that's what I'm drawing from. Gonna tilt the deck down. This takes incredible muscle. All right. Oh yeah, I was gonna move the whole setup back. I'm kind of blocking the light. The camera. Woo! So let's try that. Wow, that's the first time I've seen how bad I did my own haircut. Fun. I'm my own boss, and it's a clown world, so might as well look like a clown, right? Okay, we'll just drag this back. Now, this might mess me up a little bit because I'm further from the screen than I was before. But everything's just relative. Come on, camera. Oh, I see what's going on. Stop being funky. Okay. We're almost there, guys. This is a one-man show, okay? Come on. You gotta expect it to be janky at the best of times. So let's see. Okay. Hey, that looks nice on your guys' screen. I'll just move over slightly. All right, kind of professional now. After doing this many, you'd think it wasn't such a chore. All right. I gotta move all the tables beside me. The microphone's really far now. But I'm in the right light. There's always something, every episode, where I learn, maybe I forgot the lesson. All right. Alice Pan Ref for reference. Let's draw this bad boy. Let's do the things I talked about in that last little bit after I drink some delicious Master Cleanse drink. I want this to tilt a little bit more. I want to have that illusion, so I need to bring the hip in. That actually looks like it'll do it. And also here, I want to create that angular motion. Hands are okay. And I'm going to thin the legs down a little bit. I had them rather strong. I have always, well, not always, but I've had an issue where I make my calves too big, which is great when I'm drawing our model Lee, because he's got the biggest calves ever from all the mountain climbing. But here, not so great. Especially not on ladies. They don't want to be drawn with cankles. Part of it is maybe where that muscle's coming in. Pull these things back a little bit. Okay. So the goal of the sitting, oh, timer. See? I'm out of practice, guys. We're gonna go for 23 minutes, which I call Michael Jordan. If you know about basketball, you know why. 25 minutes is the Pontomoro timing, or how long it takes to make a good sauce. It's good to time yourself. It's very, very important to take breaks. It took me decades to figure out that that was actually a thing. And although sometimes I might not do it, it's more of a do as I say rather than do as I do thing. But you need to take care of yourself. And that's one of the ways. Take care of the body, stretch it out. Every evening I do Tai Chi. It's like a 13 to 17 minutes, depending on how fast I'm moving. Not only mental break, but also it's like moving yoga. So I'm going to simplify now the shadow shapes. So I'm not drawing anatomy here. I'm drawing what I see are patterns of light and dark. So I'm not going to name them as things because they're not things. I mean, the shape I'm drawing here is the shadow under the pursed lips. How about that? Think abstractly. It amazes me actually how abstract, once I learned the Venetian method of painting and stuff, and like big form modeling, how abstract even the old masters were. The result in the end is not so abstract. Hopefully I get this right. Now I'm doing the darkest shape first as the form turns. I'll just put some tone in it. It's like a cutout, or if you were gonna make a stencil. Maybe there. Just softly put it in. There is on this horn, but that's a small detail. Where else is the darkest? Underneath this armpit. And along the arm. That finger. A little bit down the side. Okay. And of course, the major one I feel is underneath the leg here. This is our darkest dark, really. So it's going to need a lot of material built up. And try to follow the shape of the form. Okay. Next thing. And maybe there'll be a drop shadow underneath this foot. Those fingers too. Now I'm going to look for what is light and what is dark. So the mandible. This is a tough angle to get right, so don't curve it too much. But it drops down a cast shadow, so we can use a hard edge across the neck, across the Adam's apple, and down into the neck pit. Now, it softens up here, but comes from the neck pit up to the side of the neck. I'll put that in there. The shadow down the trap. And all of these shapes will get defined better as we round and make more little bumps and fissures of muscle. Refine, refine, refine. From the pec, the deltoid, maybe I made this arm a little bit bigger than it should be, but down the bicep, we already got that. Okay, that's thumb maybe. I'm just going down the body. It's like window shading, just to get some values on here. There's some interesting lost edges that happen up around the shoulder because the tree behind is the same value, but we have to know a little bit of the anatomy to get that in there. The shadow comes down the pec, and actually there's a cast shadow just down the side. And of course my favorite thing to draw is the serratus is going to come forward. So we draw from the dark into the light usually when trying to build the illusion of form. Okay. This side's in shadow from, well, we can even draw the deltoid a little bit, but from that pec muscle I would say the whole chest. Yeah. So the whole chest muscle. The light is over here. So you can look for it's above him for sure because you see the neck shadow and you see the shadow of the legs. That's, know where your light is. It's significant. Take that leg down a little bit more too. But he's fairly bright. Below the chest, which curves in this case, we can also see a small triangle where the sternum is, which emphasizes the other chest. And there's an angle to it, because this muscle is flexing and being pulled upward. And upward, we get that little divot. It's kind of a triangular shape. It's a void. These voids are interesting on the body. Quite a few on the back by the shoulder blades. We've got them on the neck on either side as well of the sternocleidomastoid. Which we should put that in here just a little bit. He's got a vein going up his neck too. I like that. And this shadow from here is actually the light's catching the sternocleidomastoid as well. Keith is here. Hey, Keith. Nice. there's another dark that I hadn't caught in the very beginning. In the armpit here. So you can see a bicep, and then it goes down. So let's emphasize that a little bit more than it is. I'm using just the point of the pencil for that too. Very sharp. It's better to make your cast shadows sharp, even when they're not quite as sharp as you think. I find that it helps pop what we can do on the paper. Hard edges. Especially because so many things on the figure are soft. Contrast, man. Contrast is key. Contrast in all things, actually. Especially still lives. It's not just height and width of something, but is it glassy? Is it textured? Is it square and hard angled? Is it soft, you know? I find that that's where all interests lay and live. In contrast. Green looks far more intense beside red. You know? The shoulder pops because it's so bright compared to behind. And then he's got pinky peachy skin. It's probably enhanced, the photo. And then against the cool and greens in the back really makes the figure pop forward. Of course, in drawing, we don't have the ability to, well, unless you're drawing with pencil crayons, we don't have the ability to rely on the tricks that color can do for your eye. But that's okay. We just got to deal with it in terms of value. If you are drawing along, please tag the model. It might get you some other fans. He's quite well known from what I understand. Can't remember how I started following him. Yeah, I think he may have sent me something because I tag figure models in these drawings on the Instablam. Okay, we got that behind. Artista is still a shadow here. I think I'll even increase the contrast for this drawing than what it actually is, just to create some more visual interest. I wonder. I'm gonna move that. That's the 10th rib there, so one of our landmarks. Sure. Well, I'm getting caught up. What about the fact, yeah, we got the bicep there, but let's actually put the shadow that goes from the bicep underneath the arm to the tricep. Got about 10 more minutes in this time scale. It flies when you're having fun. I was feeling so tired. Often when I would go to martial arts, I wouldn't want to go. And I'd be like, oh, so tired after work. And today I worked all day cleaning up the studio. And now that I'm sitting and drawing, even though my back is sore, we're bending over, scraping the floor. You wouldn't believe the kind of stuff we had to scrape. So it was essentially 10 hours work scraping the floor here. And it's still not back to Virgo power where I would like it, but it's clean enough that when people come back in here, they're not gonna make a mess. Because that's one thing I notice having a studio that's public, is that if the floor is messy, people think they're allowed to make a mess. I had a student in here yesterday, one of my private students, literally throw their wet painty napkin on the floor, and I gave like the devil eyes. But it's because it looks like a studio floor, you think you can get away with that. I remember one of the drawing sessions, people were putting their pencil shavings on the floor. So I figured out, you gotta keep it so clean that they actually pick up after themselves. So I said to the person helping me clean, I want it clean enough that you could eat off of it. So we broke our backs today. Maybe she's out there right now drawing. We'll be doing the same thing tomorrow. Oh, you know what? I changed the angle of his finger here. I wasn't paying attention to what's actually on the screen. I actually was daydreaming for a second there. That happens a lot when I'm drawing, is I'm actually elsewhere. So the talking for the live stream is kind of grounding, but when I draw, I don't talk to myself in my mind, if you know what I mean. Maybe put it in the comments. What goes on inside your head when you're drawing? Is there a drawing voice? A questioning? What are you doing? What is that? Does it look like anything? I've never thought to ask anyone what's going on. Maybe I've asked Keith, actually. Because I think it's funny when students ask, what are you thinking? Like, oh my God, that's a lot to unpack. We want to get to the point where we're not thinking, I figure. That's the zone. All right, let's not turn his finger the wrong way here. It's like little points. Like I'm obsessed right now with the hand and how it looks. Don't think you have to do anything a certain way. You got to follow and study what you find intriguing and beautiful. If you're not getting the results you want, that's when you need maybe to step back and figure out what is it that you need to learn. I mean, I feel that you just always have to be working these fundamentals. So, there's no escaping that. I haven't taught in so long now that I can't remember half the stuff I used to know. It'll come back, I'm sure. So I'm not doing the whole, I'm just going down. This is the most interesting part to me. And what's funny is it's in the exact wrong place to be putting my time right now. I should be putting my effort here because now when I draw, I'm going to slide past this. And I'm not using a crutch, so, or a bridge, which is when you put a piece of paper there. It's called a bridge because there's these plastic things that look like a bridge and you put them on the drawing. That came back from the day, you know, traditional illustration though. We don't do them in figure drawing. Okay, what's that shape? I know it's a thumb, but I'm not drawing a thumb. I'm just drawing shapes. I'm hoping it works out. That should be lighter. So far, so good. Alrighty-ho. 3 more minutes. Darken that shadow. Let's move down. Got a little carried away, you know how it goes. Put his Ipelne in there. Guess it's a man. You know what? I'm not going to have any issues with this video because it's a man. Find the side of the patella. All this is the same tone here. But beside the patella, the side, the literal side of the patella is where the shadow is. There's a little bit of thickness there. This is a tendon here, so it's not full shadow, but a little bone that sticks out. And then a tendon, and all this shadow. Shadow, shadow. I'll just pull out this highlight beside the flex of the trochanter. I think this butt's still big. But really it should be lined up with that. Moving on down. I'll pull this calf in too. So my legs aren't too thick. It's not Lee. It's not Lee. Just keep telling myself. So there's reflected light in there, but I'm going to show that by adding more dark on either side of it. And still tone, the name reflected light, although that's what it is, the word light in there is bad because it tricks you into thinking it's brighter than it is. It's not. It's still got to be darker than your darkest light. The lightest dark must be darker than the darkest light. One second. All right, that's where we got. Let's take a little break. Let's look at our art. Let's drink some cleanse juice, and then we'll keep going. Take a break. Relax. Yeah, that's looking all right. I'm just gonna take 3 more minutes. Take a little stretch, walk around the studio. free music. Where are we at? 33 seconds. Oh boy. Got one of these little drafting brushes. Just brush off all the eraser bits. Oh, I just found where my kneadable eraser was the whole time. Okay, I think I drew his hand too small, but let's just see. Damn it, drew his hand way too small. I spent so much time on that and it's it's too small. Beautifully rendered. Bye bye. Sometimes those things happen. His hand is nearly the size of his head. It's like just a little more. Let's try that again. Head length. Hand length. I just gotta make things a little bit bigger, that's all. It's a good thing I didn't press too hard. Sometimes those things can like break your heart where you're like so attached to something like on a face, and then it's the one thing that you like the most, it's the one thing that you have to get rid of in order for it to work. This is a very humbling practice. Alright, so we'll stick that finger there now. Stick that finger there. Let that be a lesson to me. Again. So that fold comes mid-thumb. I mean, all I've really done here is lengthen the finger. It's more than that. just for that. Knuckle should be all right. Houston, we have an issue. That finger stays there, it just needs to be bigger. There we go. Much better. So I'm glad to be working on my drawing skills. I'm animating a lot right now. Multiple clients keeping this place going. But there's not a lot of drawing in the type of animating I'm doing. There we go. And on Sundays, I started a tattoo apprenticeship. So I'm using drawing skills in a different way. So I have a bunch of people lined up to be my human canvases. But first I have to tattoo my leg. I think that's going to be weird because of the anticipation of the pain. But the person who's teaching me, I was there when he tattooed his leg for the first time, when he was an apprentice. So we've come full circle, it seems. It's a totally different type of drawing as well, more illustration. But I figure it can't be a harmful skill to acquire. I always love learning new things. And if I ever wind up in prison, maybe it will mean I don't have to be someone's girlfriend. If anyone's listening, that's comedy. Thanks. Okay, that's better. We'll just leave it at that. Let's move down. Find some interesting things in the legs, maybe. Now, one thing is, the legs just need a tone on them, just in general. I can't show that highlight along the shin without having something there to erase. Last week, and all human flesh has tone on it. We're not white. We're not marble statues, right? Might even be, might unify the shadow shape underneath his seat bone. When I say sit bone, I learned that in Tai Chi. There is not actually a sit bone, and I'm well aware of that. Going with the forearm, across the forearm, I mean. Let's get some tone on this guy. We're gonna check the measure on this hand now too, since I did that with the other. So this hand is smaller than the head length, and I've got it just where it needs to be. Who knows what happened? This is analog. Surprises. Mostly. The bicep going down. Tendon squeezing in. We follow that. Let's follow it. It's good to draw also the darks darker often than you see them. Just for black and white drawing, just so you have some lateral move. Some contrast, you gotta increase it. I hope the model does see this and enjoys what we're doing here tonight. Oh, I forgot the timer. Funny, every time. It's because there's no people in the room. Well, let's just draw till 8. Like 5 minutes before. Pontomoro timing, 25 minutes. And maybe in the next session I'll tackle the head. Fresh. I'm actually rotating the pencil as I do this too, like this. Might be hard to see that. Because I don't want to wear a flat spot. Originally I was thinking that I would use the stump to soften things, but I kind of like seeing the texture of the paper when it's this rough. I think I was, because I go in tangent, I think I was talking about get yourself smooth newsprint. I used to have to ask Swinton's to order it for me because nobody carried it. I've since said, hey, carry this for everyone. I don't know if the art stores are doing it, but that's what you want. You want to be able to like smudge an edge, especially a softened edge, which I actually haven't done much in the drawings on this live stream. I feel like most of them are focused on getting it to look like the thing, like structurally. So I'll just take my kneadable eraser here, and I'll just, because there's tone on there, right? If I rub it down like that, I can just erase out that highlight. Kind of dances across the shin like that. And then add a little more on the dark side. Let's help it pop. So I'm just freewheeling it here because I have the whole size and shape. I'm not measuring anything out at this point. It's within the realm, within the envelope, so I'm probably going to be okay. Unlike the hand that I didn't put in an envelope, ended up being a little bit small. So remember that these toes are forms, and with each cylinder form, light is falling around it. If you're being more graphical at this point, you might not want to include that light. Even with the toes, there's also a reflected light often beside from the toe, sending it to the next one beside it. All right. And the big one, look at that, just fit. While we're here, I'll get this other foot in, right? This is kind of the backwards of what normally I start at the head, but today the feelings went another way. And that's okay. Someone left me a comment that I was the Bob Ross of this, so I have to have positive things to say. That's just okay. Bob Ross was a millionaire. I'll take that part. I'd even take an afro. I don't think it would look good in pink though. I might just leave these drawn as like those beautiful diagonal lines. Tendon on top of the foot, and the shin, it goes wide a little bit and then back down. It's not straight on that side. Give some tone to the calf. There we go. That's got to drop a little bit. Okay. Have we massaged this leg enough? Indicate the side of that bone. I'm emphasizing a little bit more, but sometimes people don't know what they're drawing, and if you exaggerate some things, it kind of tells the brain, hey, look, I know what this is here. The bone in the leg would look like this. So a little triangle on top there. So you're seeing the side of the bone. Kind of how like we think one draws a dog bone. Two big ends there. All right. Bunny, who are you talking to? All right, that looks good for now. We'll leave it like that. Pull a little more dark up to this leg up here. Squint your eyes if you can't see it. Separation of the muscle right there. Put some of these folds in. Lighten up the serratus here. get this other arm in here. Maybe that's squint my eyes a little bit and get a little bit more value in this lower leg. It's actually fairly bright. Just draw some rocky outcropping. Maybe not that far. Striations in the deltoid. It's a multi-pennate muscle, so you can use that texture to your advantage. Alright, now we got the arm shape right. Darken that, cast shadow even more. There are 3 striations of muscles there. The ones that flex when your fingers come in or out. So let's make sure he has those flexing. And the veins. Four minutes here till the next little break. We're not even 7:45 only. There's lots of time here. I'm not going to need it all tonight. We're going to extend these fingers a little bit more too. Almost read his palm here. turn his hands into big mitts. Mitts of power. 1 minute left till this thing beeps. So in the next session, I'll focus on the head. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with the background yet. If anything at all. I think I'll darken this leg a little more too. Even though it's not totally the truth. Okay. Let's take a little longer break. We did triangles, so let's do stars. All right. Well, someone came and delivered a bunch of blank canvases to me. Well, not blank canvases. I got to rip this canvas off and then re-stretch or give to someone to paint over. So that wasn't really a break, but got some pieces of paper, got some painter's tape. I'm creating a little protection here. I've used, except for the wristlet, this pencil the whole time, so I'm going to switch out because it's not fine enough. And I may zoom this camera in because we're only going to be working now on the head here. So we'll go for 23 minutes, back to our Michael Jordan. I'll see how far we get. Maybe there's a chance to get in the background. My phone's been going off the hook. Jeez Louise, what a day it's been. How's that look? Okay. And now I just move myself. Oh. Let me go a little deeper. Okay. So you can even see the timer. Isn't that nice? Okay. Let's look at this real time here. I run my clocks fast so that I'm never late. And I'm gonna just zoom in my reference a little bit because I can. I have that power, which normally I would need binoculars to do that. And I'm just gonna do a freeform again because I think I blocked it in pretty good. This side's all in shadow. I'm gonna put the mouth a little higher up actually. Move it slightly over while we're here. This is a little howling, it looks like. Oh, oh yeah. It's not even a full moon tonight. We'll make his chin hair a little bit blacker. Hey, Jeff. Sorry I'm late. Hey, that's nice. You and Keith are kind of like the Cheers characters. Like, Norm, Keith, Jeff, you're here. Thanks for popping in, Jeff. I'm just drawing. Keeping it a little quiet now. Oh yeah. Switch to Wolf's Carbon. He's howling. I don't know how many people got that, but it's there. Oh yeah, hit start. Haha. I don't have anyone in the room to tell me. Draw the turn of the neck a little bit. shape that I just made. You can see that I don't know if it picks up on the camera, the wolf's carbon is more like graphite-y, it's grayer. I love the Pierre Noir because it really shows up great on camera, and you know, it's not a true black, but it also erases so forgivingly. Highlight right there. This carbon's a little bit softer. Smaller diameter pencil as well. Which indicate the ear. The direction of the hair. Above the lip, we're going to move this nose up too. It's in shadow. Top lip. The fold. He's got like facial hair there. There's enough distance for that facial hair above the top of the lip. And the arch of the nose up to that brow line. Think Gargamel. Some of you may be too young to know that reference. It's the Smurfs. Lighten that cheek a little bit. Even though it's on the shadow side, because I'm going to put material on top, I still want it to be lighter, just not as light as a light. Whereas the eyelash is catching light. Guys, I want to say that I think this channel is getting popular because it's starting to get a lot of bots, Russian bots. I assume they're Russian. That's just how I've heard it. They've been plaguing this the comments the last 2 weeks. It's probably just like every single live stream they're on there. Okay. Side of the mouth. Lost a little bit of the brow there. There we go. think I'm getting close on that bit. Shouldn't be a line there at all. Alright, let's see how this bad boy actually turned out. Yeah. Let me zoom out. Boop. There it is. And back it up. So I don't know if it needs a background. I'm not sure how I feel. Eraser. Take our bridge out of here for a minute. Non-bot comments below. Should I keep going? Just gonna delete this off here. Pretty nice. It's just after 8. I guess I could touch up some of these shadow shapes a little bit more too. Unified shadow shapes, that is. I'm not sure that I want him in a forest. Kind of like this idea that he might be in hell. Maybe I'll just try some starburst here. Some bursting out. See what that does. Give us a little more variety at least. I feel like this might take away from it, you know? Like it's all fun. I don't know, I was saying in the beginning about how we always draw these floating characters, but I kind of like it like that this particular time. Gonna darken up some stuff and put in some harder edges while I think about it. I've got to design myself a leg tattoo. This might be kind of interesting, actually. So I'm darkening my course while I'm Down here, why not, right? Help it pop a little bit more. I'm back in the Pure Noir world as well. Brand new Sharpie Sharp. It's the needle. Might lighten a few tricky little areas like there. There. Lighten this again. Okay, so what does that mean? Does that mean we're done? It's only 8:24. But you know what? I think I'm done. I've had a long day of work. I'm just gonna call it in. So, just give me a second to tilt this up. I gotta sign this bad boy probably. Good idea. January, what is it, 12th? I think that's good for tonight. So let's take this picture off the screen and zoom our ways out. Was the end of the evening. And we'll say our farewells. Oh, thanks, Jeff. Yeah, I didn't want to do all the background in. I don't know. 'Cause I think it was going to take away from it. Oh, Shiza. We still have signal? Okay. Oh my god. It's just the camera here. Let's see. What's going on? It's not giving me signal. No! Okay, just a second. Let's try this once more. We lost camera. Just 1 second. Remote shooting. Live. Are we back? Oh, thank goodness. Sometimes this happens. Not quite enough cable length to pull it back there. All right, so yeah, guys, you should see how clean the studio floor is. Can't show you in this video because right now everything's stacked up for us to keep going. Okay, here we go. Tilt the camera a little bit, bunny. This is the end part. How exciting. Oh, and I've got my hat. Fantastic. LS, hand reference. Here we go. Final piece. I'll put on the social media. I like how it turned out. It's a bit illustrative. Whatever, that was fun. It's been a long day. I want to thank you for joining me. Oh man, look at those dirty hands. Appreciate it. Click the like, share, comment, hit the notification bell, all that YouTube stuff that I can't keep straight in my head. And till next week. Ciao for now. Bunny wipe.